Folks, you guys want to take a trip down to Chuck E. Cheese? Yeah, that's the deal, baby. We might even be heading to Edmonton to get over there. Today, we are talking about some commentary made by Florida Panthers forward Matthew Tkachuk on the Edmonton Oilers heading into this Stanley Cup Finals rematch. Now, normally this kind of a thing wouldn't really warrant its own video. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just kind of nice to see the kind words being tossed out there, but I wanted to use this as an opportunity to dive into some of the ins and outs and the successes and everything else in between of the Edmonton Oilers in this 2025 Stanley Cup Playoff Series. Because, of course, we recognize this. They're in the finals against the Florida Panthers, the team that beat them in the finals last year, a team that had a 3-0 lead in the finals, and then lost 3 straight games. It was quite a moment for the Edmonton Oilers, and for a time there, based off of the scores of the hockey game, based off of how dominant Edmonton was in games 4, 5, and 6, it looked like a Game 7 reverse sweep was going to happen for Edmonton. But it didn't. They ended up losing Game 7 2-1, and I know a lot of Oilers fans were heartbroken, disappointed, and upset with the way they weren't able to get by Bob last year. But that doesn't matter anymore, right? Because now the Edmonton Oilers are heading into the finals as the hottest team in hockey. And they are looking pretty good, I will say that. There have been polls, there have been people going out there and asking it online. I think common consensus is, just barely common consensus is, that the Oilers have a better chance of winning this year compared to last. I mean, the Oilers were down 3-0 last year, so nobody thought they'd be able to come back, but they almost did. They were really close. 1 goal away, 1 game away. So this year, heading into it, this team has so much momentum, and they've got a vengeance, they've got a hunger, they've got a desire. Meanwhile, for the Florida Panthers, they've made the finals 3 years in a row. So, yeah, it's kind of great to see that happening, with the Tampa Bay Lightning making back-to-back-to-back finals from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, and then the Panthers doing it in 23, 24, 25. Yeah, Florida. It's almost like teams in Florida have a bigger advantage because of the state tax. Anyways, let's move on past that. The Oilers are playing some of the best hockey in the world. And Matthew Tkachuk was brought onto the Pat McAfee show earlier this morning to talk about it. And this video is going to be linked in the description. It's from SportsCenter. It's the clip itself, 1 minute 33 seconds long, of Matthew Tkachuk Cheese on the McAfee show. Essentially, McAfee asks Tkachuk, what is it about that Oilers team that makes them so good? What is it that you respect a lot? We recognize that you guys are pretty much the best 2 teams in hockey. You made the finals back-to-back years, both of you guys. But you guys, you play fast, etc., etc. What is it about that Oilers team that is so good? Tkachuk then goes out there and says this: I'm pretty familiar with the Oilers going back to my time in Calgary and seeing a lot of those players grow, playing against McDavid a ton. When you're playing against the best player in the world, he's always going to give you a challenge. It's not just him, though. They're a deep team. And yeah, that's true. Matthew Tkachuk has played against McDavid a ton from all those years, from the Battle of Alberta, being one of the main guys on the Calgary side, to playing off against Draisaitl and McDavid. Now he's in Florida and he's faced off against McDavid in back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals seasons, so it's definitely been a fun little rivalry there. Also, Team USA, 4 Nations tournament against that fantastic Team Canada. The quote that we screenshotted doesn't have the full comments, but Matthew Tkachuk then goes out there and pretty much glazes the Edmonton Oilers really hard, talking about how that's a team that has won 12 of their last 14 hockey games. He even says in detail, after the Oilers were down 2-0 to the LA Kings in the first round, they went on a 12-2 run. They have only lost 2 hockey games since their first win of the playoffs, all the way back in April. This Oilers squad has been scary dominant, and Tkachuk even goes out there and says that one of the underrated parts, one of the things that makes them so good, is their defense. And that, of course, is a comment that I think a lot of folks would be quite intrigued to hear about how Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard and Troy Stecher have all been very, very notable names. Ekholm just came back, Klingberg, Wallman. Man, it does kind of hurt to see Troy Stecher get scratched and not played, but hey, you're a deep team, right? They're shutting down everybody, which is pretty much the main point here that Tkachuk is making. Tkachuk is very, very open and honest about how good the Oilers are, and it is quite interesting just to note the personality contrast here. I know it's not anything new, but it's always so interesting to me to see hockey players be super animated and super physical and rough and tough and fighting and all this against each other on the ice, but then off the ice he can go on to the Pat McAfee show and he's like, yeah, they're a really good team, they're very talented, they're 12-2, they're scary, they're a very big challenge, and Connor McDavid's the best player in the world. Connor Mac, by the way, 26 points in 16 games in the playoffs this postseason run. Leon Draisaitl's got 25 in 16. All of the top scorers in this playoffs, aside Mikko Rantanen, are from the Edmonton Oilers. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is over a point per game now. Florida's got Alexander Barkov and Bennett, so they've been doing very well. Bennett could get $10 million a year in the free agent market, who knows this season, but either way, this is going to be a showdown for the ages. Edmonton, Florida, Part 2. If you were to twist my arm and give a Stanley Cup victor, I am going to say Edmonton. The Florida Panthers are very good, and they are arguably playing the best, most effective, most winning formula of hockey in the world right now with their physicality and how strong they are off the puck. But the Oilers, man. The Oilers can do what the Vegas Golden Knights did 2 seasons ago to eliminate the Florida Panthers. And look, the Panthers, they had to get some lessons in there. They won all their way to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2023, were not able to get by Vegas. They got smoked by Vegas, unfortunately. But they learned those lessons. They came back the next year. They dismantled the Oilers in the first 3 games of the series before almost choking it away. This Panthers team has played a lot of hockey over the past few years, and maybe there's a chance that comes back to bite them. But for now, who knows? The Stanley Cup Finals will begin in a few days here. There is enough of a break that we can just all catch our breath. It's not going to start until Wednesday next week. So with all that in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Matthew Tkachuk going out there and making these comments about Edmonton and about Connor McDavid, praising and glazing and making this thought known on the Pat McAfee show. Link is going to be in the description if you want to go out there and listen to the video clip yourself. But for now, thoughts on the Stanley Cup Finals to be, thoughts on Edmonton, Florida, Part 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.